Hey guys, I just had a dream, having a lot of trouble explaining. Um, the whole sequence of things was very disorienting and there's a lot of weird imagery and things taking place that sort of reminded me of this movie back in the day called Dr. Parnassus or something like that. Um, but I was told very specific things in this dream by an individual who I call Santa Claus, who looked like your stereotypical Santa Claus, but he wasn't dressed like one. He just had a beard, uh, just like almost like a black suit on, and I could have swore I might have seen like a Jewish yarmulke or cape on his head, and he proceeded to tell me that the inside or the interior of the earth is being hollowed out from the inside. In in what I saw in what he was showing it was like a black hole type of thing, and we were on location in some apartment. Looked a lot like New York City, like Manhattan, and very kind of old style interior design from like the 40s. I don't know. And as he was walking around in this apartment, describing to me details, most of which I couldn't really understand or remember, but there are certain key points that I do remember. And he was telling me that this, black hole in the center of the earth was, in addition to hollowing out the earth and destroying it from the inside out, he said that it was distorting and collapsing time. And he was showing me examples of, I don't know how you would call them. I guess you could describe them as timelines or sequence of events that sort of dissipated into an ether because of this black hole that was devouring those events, and it was destroying specifically specifically destroying the past very vigorously and aggressively, destroying what we consider to be the past. And as he's telling me this, I'm starting to notice distortions within the dream where I see things change in the apartment. So, kind of like, a sort of Mandela effect or reality glitch that was happening inside the dream as he's describing me this. And by the way, this old man gave off creepy vibes, not positive vibes. Uh, Very wise, very intelligent, but not in a good way. I don't know how to explain it. He as he's telling me this, I'm seeing like these, just timelines dissipate before me, and then I see them kind of like being sucked into this black hole, like it was like a visual representation of events just being devoured by this darkness. It didn't look like a hole. It just looked like this blackness and this darkness that was just incinerating and just devouring everything in sight. And it was getting closer to the surface of the earth all the time. And there was like this measurement system that he was telling me about that was in this octagonal shape. Uh, and he specifically mentioned the word octagon and the number eight. multitudes of times. Um, what he was explaining, I couldn't really understand. He was saying like you go to the corners of the octagon, and when the corners become inverted, they sort of collapse like an entire segment of time or something like that. Um, and so when I mean like if you picture an octagon, like you have one point inverting, right? And they all kind of, all these points, he said they begin to invert and they invert into the central core of this octagon. And once they do that, once the last point goes into the central node, then that's when the world ends. And he specifically said those words that in his own words that once all the points collapse. Why octagon specifically? What that means, if anyone knows, the significance of that shape, if it has significance at all, um, please tell me because it was overly emphasized aggressively in the dream over and over about this sort of calculating computer, basically, in the shape of an octagon. And I don't think this was necessarily our timeline I was observing, just to be clear on that. But I do think this is happening somewhere, and that is affecting ours over here. And we might have something similar going on here as well. Um, but all time will cease and all memories gone once that final uh, point collapses. And when that final moment when he said, that's when the world will end, that's when he became, his most serious self, essentially. So, yeah, that's it for that one.